boys and girls, this is Ms. Horvath. In today's video, we are going to review graphs. Graphs help us organize and represent data. Today, we're going to look at 3 different types of graphs. We're going to look at tally charts, picture graphs, and bar graphs. Let's start with tally charts. Here are 2 examples of tally charts. They show information using tally marks. Let's practice reading a tally chart. So here's our tally chart, and the title is Favorite Riding Toy. So this chart gives us information about people's favorite riding toy. The options are scooter, bicycle, and skateboard. To find out how many people like to ride the scooter, you can count the tally marks next to scooter. I see 1, 2 tally marks next to scooter. That means a total of 2 people chose scooter. Here's bicycle. To find out how many people chose bicycle, you can count the tally marks next to bicycle. Remember, when you're counting tally marks and you see a tally mark that goes across diagonally, that represents 5 tally marks. So we have 5, 6, 7. A total of 7 people chose bicycle as their favorite riding toy. And here's skateboard. There are 5 tally marks next to skateboard. That means 5 people chose skateboard as their favorite riding toy. To practice reading this tally chart further, we have some questions here at the bottom. Here's the first one. Which riding toy did people like the most? So, of these 3 toys, which one did people like the most? The answer would be bicycle. The most people like bicycle. 7 people chose bicycle. That's more than scooter. That's more than the number of people who chose the scooter. And that's more than the number of people who chose the skateboard. So people liked bicycle the most. Number 2, which riding toy did people like the least? So we need to look for the riding toy with the least, the smallest amount of votes. That would be the scooter. Only 2 people chose scooter as their favorite riding toy. So scooter is the toy that people like the least. Number 3, did more people like skateboards or scooters? Well, if we look at the chart, we know 5 people like skateboards and 2 people like scooters. 5 is more than 2. That means more people like skateboards than scooters. The answer would be skateboard. And number 4, how many people voted in all? So this question is asking us, how many people in all told us their favorite riding toy? To find the answer, you have to count all the tally marks. Or you can add up the totals in this column. Let's add up the totals. So 2 people chose scooter, 7 people chose the bicycle, and 5 people chose skateboard. So to find out how many people voted in all, we have to add 2 plus 7 plus 5. Well, 2 plus 7 is 9, and 9 plus 5 equals 14. That means 14 14 people voted in all. 14 people total told us their favorite riding toy. And we can double check our answer by counting all these tally marks. Let's start with the groups of 5, and then we can count by ones. 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're correct. 14 people voted in all. Awesome job, boys and girls. So this was an example of a tally chart. Let's move on to picture graphs. So in a tally chart, you count tally marks to read the chart. In a picture graph, you have to count the pictures on the graph. Here are 2 examples of picture graphs. Here's one, and here's one. And instead of tally marks, you'll see pictures. Let's practice reading a picture graph. So the title of this picture graph is Favorite Sport. So this picture graph gives us information about people's favorite sport. The options were baseball, basketball, and track. To find out how many people like baseball, you'd count the pictures next to the word baseball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 people chose baseball, basketball. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people chose basketball. And let's take a look at track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 people chose track as their favorite sport. To help us practice reading picture graphs, we have some questions here at the bottom. Number 1, which sport did people like the most? Well, if we look at the picture graph, we see that track got the most votes. 7 people voted for track. That's more than the number of people who voted for basketball and more than the number of people who voted for baseball. So which sport do people like the most? Track. Number 2, which sport did people like the least? So which sport got the least amount of votes? If we look at our picture graph, we see that basketball got the least amount of votes. Only 4 people chose basketball. That's the least amount compared to the number of people who chose baseball and track. So which sport got the least amount of votes? Basketball. Number 3, did more people like baseball or basketball? Well, we know 6 people like baseball and 4 people like basketball. 6 is more than 4. That means more people like baseball than basketball. The answer would be baseball. And number 4, how many people voted in all? So how many people in all told us their favorite sport? We can find the answer by counting the number of people who chose baseball, basketball, and track. Or we can add the number of people who chose baseball, basketball, and track. I'm going to add first. So 6 people chose baseball, 4 people chose basketball, and 7 people chose track. So I know 6 plus 4 is 10. And 10 plus 7 is 17. So 17 people voted in all. A total of 17 people told us their favorite sport. And we can double check our answer by counting the pictures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 people in all voted on their favorite sport. Oh, and one thing I wanted to point out, when I was looking at the picture graph, I was only counting the pictures here in the white area. Baseball, basketball, and track all have a picture here to the left, but these pictures are just to help us remember what these words are saying. Only count the pictures to the right of the word. All right, awesome job. We just read a picture graph. Let's move on to bar graphs. So bar graphs show us information using bars. You might have a bar graph where the bar goes from left to right, like in these two bar graphs, or the bar might go up and down, like in this bar graph. Let's practice reading a bar graph. So the title of this bar graph is Favorite Way to Travel. So this bar graph gives us information about people's favorite way to travel. The options are walking, running, or skipping. To find out how many people chose walking, I have to look at the bar next to walking. And I see that the bar goes all the way to the number 8. See? That bar goes all the way to 8. There are 8 squares that make up this bar. So 8 people chose walking. Let's check out running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The bar next to running goes all the way to 6. That means 6 people chose running. And check out skipping. 1, 2, 3. 3 people chose skipping. The bar next to skipping goes to the number 3. So let's answer the questions below. Number 1, which way to travel do people like the most? Well, look at the bar graph. Which one has the longest bar? Walking. 8 people chose walking. That's more than the number of people who chose running and more than the number of people who chose skipping. So which way to travel do people like the most? Walking. Number 2, which way to travel do people like the least? So which way got the least amount of votes? Look at the bar graph. The answer is skipping. The bar next to skipping is the shortest. Only 3 people chose skipping. More people chose running. More people chose walking. Skipping got the least amount of votes. Number 3, did more people like running or skipping? Well, we know 6 people liked running and 3 people liked skipping. 6 is more than 3, so more people liked running than skipping. And number 4, how many people voted in all? So how many people in all told us their favorite way to travel? To find the answer, we can add up the number of people who chose walking, running, and skipping. So 8 people chose walking, plus 6 people chose running, plus 3 people chose skipping. 8 plus 3 is 14. And 14 plus 3 equals 17. So 17 people voted in all. we can double check our answer by counting the squares in the bar that are colored in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 people voted in all. Awesome job, boys and girls. So you just reviewed 3 different types of graphs: tally charts, picture graphs, and bar graphs. If you need more time to review these graphs, on the next slide, there are some BrainPop Junior videos you can watch. On the slide after that, you have some questions that you'll need to answer about graphs. Make sure you complete those questions. Great job, boys and girls. Good luck.